Farquhar is the top station on Thomas's branch line. Here, Thomas will run round Annie and Clarabelle for his journey back down the line. However, Thomas always fills up his coal bunker by the coal merchant in a siding before starting off. Water was fine as they always topped up at the station by the river. One day, Thomas arrived at Farquhar. He just ran round his coaches into the siding and noticed something surprising. "Where are the buffers for these sidings?" he asked in a state of surprise. "Has Percy smashed into them again?" "Bless you, no," laughed the driver. "The buffers originally hadn't been very safe, so now a pair is being brought in to replace the old ones." "Is that really safe taking them away now?" Thomas pointed out. "What if me, Percy or Toby had something go faulty as we come into this siding and we just..." Thomas paused, "rolled off the tracks and crash," he finished. "Don't you worry, Thomas," his driver said. "Us crew members will be doing our best to take good care." This helped Thomas a little, but he wasn't too convinced. 2 days later in the afternoon, Thomas glided into Farquhar as usual. He made his way into the siding without the buffers once again, and his driver was just putting his brakes on when the station master strolled up. "Excuse me, Bob, you're wanted on the telephone." "Why can't someone just leave me in peace to do my job?" grumbled the driver, and he walked to the station, but unfortunately, he had forgotten about Thomas's brakes. He was in the process of putting them on, but he hadn't done it all the way. The fireman didn't even know about it. The driver let him get his lunch in the station master's office. Thomas dozed as he waited. The sun was out and there was a nice warm breeze in the air. All was well when Thomas suddenly felt his wheels slowly turning. "Are you back driving, fireman?" he asked. No answer. Thomas looked back and found his cab had no one inside it. "Horrors!" exclaimed Thomas. "I'm moving on my own!" At that moment, the driver came back. "Right, time to fill up." "Oh, whack!" he cried and sprinted towards the moving tank engine. Thomas was inches from the end of the rails when the driver scrambled into his cab, and just as he put the brakes fully on, Thomas rolled off the tracks. Poor Thomas looked down to see that there were no rails to guide him. Luckily for all, Thomas hadn't been going too fast. His driver inspected him carefully. "No harm done," he said at last, "but I am to blame," he pointed out. "I didn't put your brakes fully on because I went to see who was wanting to speak to me." Thomas just gave a heavy sigh as his response. Thomas's driver went to phone for help at the station, and Toby was sent to take Annie and Clarabelle. Workmen soon arrived and made a road of sleepers to help Thomas back up. Strong ropes were fastened to Thomas, and Percy, pulling hard, managed to bring him back onto the rails. "That's better," smiled Thomas. "Thank you," he said to Percy. Percy was tired, but eventually said, "You're welcome." When the Fat Controller found out, he ordered the new buffers to be delivered to the branch line at once. And before any engines or staff knew it, the buffers were fitted in place. It seemed that Thomas was the most pleased with the new buffers.